All right, today we're going to talk about something I think is absolutely essential, a communication ladder. Think of it as a framework, a guide that helps you navigate pretty much any kind of conflict by helping you choose the right strategy for the right situation. We're going to move from building connection all the way up to pure self-protection. So let's start climbing.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You're trapped in a conversation that's either going in circles, or even worse, it's heading somewhere really, really unpleasant. Your heart starts pounding, your mind's racing, and you're just mentally scanning the room for an escape hatch. Yeah, that feeling is what we're tackling today.
And see, that's the heart of the problem. We tend to treat all tough conversations like they're the same thing, but they're not even close. A simple disagreement with your partner about what to have for dinner is a completely different universe from a manipulative comment from a boss or, a full-on toxic attack from a family member.
So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. The goal is not to win the argument. The real power, the real skill, is in knowing what kind of fight you're in and then picking the right tool for the job. It's all about being strategic instead of just having that knee-jerk reaction.
Okay, so let's start at the very bottom of our ladder. Level 1. This is for those situations where the goal is real, genuine connection, where you believe mutual understanding is actually possible. And your go-to tool here? It's called nonviolent communication. So NBC was developed by a psychologist named Marshall Rosenberg, and it's this incredibly powerful way to build empathy. Now, it's not about being passive or a doormat. It's about digging down to what we all have in common, these basic shared human needs, and using that as a foundation to solve problems together.
And the great thing about NVC is how practical it is. It really just boils down to 4 simple steps. Think about how arguments usually start. It's with blame, right? Something like, "You never help out around here." NVC just flips that whole script. So first, you start with a neutral observation. I noticed the trash hasn't been taken out. Then, you're feeling, without blaming. And I'm feeling overwhelmed. Third, you identify the need behind that feeling. Because I really need some support to keep our house running smoothly. And finally, you make a clear, concrete request. Would you be willing to take out the trash tonight? It's a total game changer, right? It turns a potential fight into a conversation. Rosenberg had this brilliant metaphor to explain it. He called NVC giraffe language. Why giraffe? Because it has the largest heart of any land animal, and its height gives it a clear perspective. It's compassionate. The opposite of that is jackal language, and that's our default setting a lot of the time, isn't it? It's all about judging, blaming, and just trying to win. So on level 1, the goal is always to speak giraffe.
Okay, time to climb up to level 2. Here, the goal shifts. It's not about connection anymore, it's about resilience. This is for when you realize the other person has zero interest in speaking giraffe. Your new mission is to protect your own inner peace. And for that, we're going to turn to the ancient Stoics.
Exactly. This is the big pivot point. What do you do when the other person isn't looking for a solution? They're just poking you with a stick. They want to fight, they want drama, they just want a big emotional reaction that they can feed off of. NVC is great, but it has its limits, and this is where you need a different tool.
And who better to learn from than a Roman emperor? The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius laid out the perfect blueprint for this. He basically said that the insult itself doesn't hurt you. What hurts you is your own judgment about the insult. We are the ones who give it power. I want you to think of an insult as just smoke. It's nothing. It's just words floating in the air. The only way it becomes a fire is if you add your reaction as the fuel. So let's say someone says, "That presentation was terrible." Your gut reaction is to get defensive, right? But the Stoic response is totally internal. You just observe the comment and think to yourself, okay, that is their opinion. And that's it. You don't have to absorb it. You don't have to make it true. Your calm literally starves the insult of the oxygen it needs to survive.
Okay, let's keep climbing. Welcome to level 3. The goal here is strategic disengagement. This is for dealing with really difficult, manipulative, or toxic people that you can't just avoid. Maybe it's a difficult coworker or a co-parent. The tool for this job is called the gray rock method.
The name pretty much says it all. You make yourself as boring and as uninteresting as a plain old gray rock. See, toxic people, they thrive on drama. They feed on emotional reactions. So when you give them absolutely nothing, no anger, no sadness, no engagement, they get bored. They're looking for a shiny, interesting target, and you just aren't it. So they eventually go somewhere else to find their drama fix. Now, this is a really, really important distinction to make. Gray rocking is not the same as stonewalling. Gray rocking is a conscious strategy. It's a shield you use to protect yourself in a specific toxic dynamic. Stonewalling, on the other hand, is when you just completely shut down and withdraw emotionally in a relationship that could otherwise be saved. One is a tool for survival, the other is a weapon that destroys connection. So how do you actually do it? You keep your answers short, factual, and totally emotionless. Imagine they try to bait you and say, "You always find a way to mess things up, don't you?" Instead of defending yourself, you just give a flat, boring reply like, "I'll double-check the report." And when they push for more, is that seriously all you have to say? Your answer? A calm, simple yes. You become a total dead end for drama. All right, we've made it to the very top of the ladder, level 4. And up here, the goal is simple. It is absolute. It's your safety. This is for those situations where any kind of engagement is a direct threat to your mental or emotional well-being. And your most powerful tool is often the simplest. You walk away. And learning to recognize these scenarios is crucial. When someone is just baiting you, trying to pick a fight, when they completely ignore your boundaries and steamroll over your no, when they're actively gaslighting you, trying to make you question your own reality, or when you realize they are just fundamentally committed to misunderstanding you. In these moments, conversation is over. It's no longer possible.
And let's be crystal clear about this. Walking away is not losing. It's not defeat. It is the ultimate act of self-respect. It's a conscious choice to protect your own sanity and refuse to play a game that's rigged against you. You are choosing your peace over their chaos. Period.
So, let's wrap this all up. We've climbed this entire communication ladder, and I hope what you've seen is that at every single level, you gain a new kind of power, the power to choose. So let's do a quick recap of the toolkit. When your goal is connection with someone who's willing to connect back, you use NVC. When your goal is resilience in the face of disrespect, you adopt that stoic mindset. When you need to disengage from a toxic person, you become the gray rock. And when your absolute priority is your own safety, you have the power to just walk away. So at the end of the day, true communication power isn't about having the wittiest comeback or just winning every single debate. It's the quiet wisdom to be able to look at a situation, assess it clearly, and then choose the response that actually serves you and your well-being. So the next time you find yourself in one of those difficult conversations, just remember the ladder. You have options, you have tools. The only real question left is, which one are you going to choose?